evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Shet, and I will be hosting tonight. Welcome to The Shet Show. Our program today is on early African art. We'll start off with paintings and sculptures. Enjoy! Early African art started with rock art. An example of Saharan rock art is dancers in ceremonial attire found in the Tassili Najir mountain range in Algeria. The painting shows two dancers wearing masks and decorative clothing that suggests they are participants involved in a ritual. The first civilization is the Yoruba people in Ife, Nigeria. The city of Ife is also called the navel of the world, since Yoruba belief states that the Oni, or king, Oduduwa, created earth from Ife. An example of artwork from the Yoruba people is crowned head of king, cast with zinc brass using the lost wax casting method. The crown indicates that the head is of a king, but the soft features noticeable around the nose and mouth imply that the head is actually female. Scarification can be seen in parallel lines running down the face and is a convention found in many African artworks. There is a hole located in the neck because the head is actually supposed to be attached to a larger wooden mannequin body. Many similar sculptures found in the same region also have similar holes in the neck. Leo Frobonius believed that the sculpture was from the lost city of Atlantis because of how naturalistic it was. European belief at that time was that African art could not be that naturalistic. This leads to the debate of whether the artwork is a portrait or not, since some historians argue that the head is an idealized image of beauty and not of a specific person. The second civilization is the Nok, known for iron technology. The earliest known sculptures of sub-Saharan Africa come from the Nok. An example of a Nok sculpture is the terracotta Nok head. The head is larger than a real head and is part of a complete human sculpture. A convention found in Nok art is the D-shaped eye. These eye shapes can also be found on Nok animal sculptures. The buns on the Nok head have holes to hold decorations such as feathers. Many Nok sculptures are highly decorated with jewelry. The third civilization is Igbo Ukwu in eastern Nigeria, known for copper alloy and bronze casting. Excavation at Igbo Ukwu revealed a burial chamber containing an individual dressed in royal clothing sitting on a chair, surrounded by expensive objects that symbolized his power. Ivory and imported beads were some of the objects. The fly whisk, staff, and fan held by the individual further asserts his power in society. Another civilization in Africa is the Bantu located in the Congo Basin. Nkisi Nkons are examples of Bantu art. These dolls are used to communicate with the dead in Congo religion. They are also figures that represent power and are used in rituals. Nkisi Nkons can be recognized by the multiple nails inserted around them. The last civilization we'll be focusing on is the Benin. Benin art was strongly influenced by Ife art. After a period of political chaos, a new king, Oroba, decided to start memorial sculptures similar to crowned head of king found at Ife. Heads became larger and more decorated as Benin art progressed. Benin art is divided into three periods: the early, middle, and late. During the early period, artists focused on the old ways of Ife. The middle period was when the heads became so decorated that the beads covered the chin. Finally, during the late period, heads were very large and very embellished. The last civilization we'll be focusing on is the Benin. Benin art was strongly influenced by Ife art. After a period of political chaos, a new king, Oroba, decided to start memorial sculptures similar to crowned head of king found at Ife. Heads became larger and more decorated as Benin art progressed. Benin art is divided into three periods: the early, middle, and late. During the early period, artists focused on the old ways of Ife. The middle period was when the heads became so decorated that the beads covered the chin. Finally, during the late period, heads were very large and very embellished. Now it's time for intermission. In the second half, we will be shifting our focus to African architecture. The city of Jen was established in the 3rd century CE and became a major urban center by the 9th century after Koikanburo, the king of Jen, converted to Islam. He turned his palace into a mosque. Another ruler, Sekou Amadou, changed the original highly decorated mosque into a more humble one, but the new mosque was then replaced by a grander mosque. This mosque is now known as the Great Friday Mosque. Characteristics of African mosques seen in the Great Friday Mosque are engaged columns and torans. Torans are wooden beams projected from the walls. They provide support so that the mosque can be replastered with adobe every year. The Great Zimbabwe is another example of African architecture, made entirely of stone. A trade network developed along the Zambezi, Limpopo, and Sabi rivers for gold, ivory, and skins. The Great Zimbabwe was a site that controlled the trade network. The walls of the Great Zimbabwe are battered, meaning they slope inward at the top. Even though the Great Zimbabwe is walled, there is no evidence that it was built as a fortress because no other battle structures can be found. The largest building in the Great Zimbabwe is the Imbahuru, that most likely served as a royal residence. Later additions to the Great Zimbabwe are conical towers that most likely served as granaries to store the harvest. At the height of its power, the Great Zimbabwe was estimated to house more than 10,000 people due to the flourishing trade network. The last work of architecture we'll discuss is the Beta Georgios, located in Lalibela, Ethiopia, named after King Lalibela. King Lalibela of the Zagwe wanted to create a new Jerusalem in Ethiopia, so he ordered 11 new churches to be built, of which Beta Georgios is the largest. All the churches were built in the shape of Greek crosses, and interestingly, they were not built from the ground up, but from the ground down. The ground was dug out around a large rock that was later chiseled into a church. This method required precise measurements. The churches at Lalibela were most likely modeled after the Aksumite cave sanctuaries, but some historians suggest that they originated in India. Ladies and gentlemen, and good night. All sources are from the 4th edition of Art History by Stockstad and Cawthron.